Hi, so my name is Ben Bowman. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator at Brimbank City Council, and I've had a great time today at the Croakey Go. Probably think my take home today is just reiterates to me that we're all in this together, and there's a lot of community knowledge and expertise on Heatwave, and we need to work together to make sure that we're addressing it, and especially that we're addressing it in the context of the climate emergency that we now face. So that involves everything from the household level right through to public open space, things like libraries and all sorts of services. So I think my take home today is just that we need to do everything all at once, all together, and I look forward to being part of that.
And hearing from your presentation, you're already doing a lot in this space.
Yes.
But is there anything that you might do differently or new as a result of today?
I think we talked about getting a group together which is specifically addressing Heatwave in Brimbank. So like we already have for fire as one of the risks to our community, there's a group that gets together across, say, police and different organisations every 6 months to talk about that kind of risk. I think we need the same thing for Heatwave, where we really up the ante on our coordination of effort and understanding. So leading into summer, what do we need to do? What messages are we sending out? What are the channels? So really working together to address Heatwave and do that in a coordinated way.
So as you know, we'll be writing a big wrap article at Croakey about this event. What's the headline you'd like to see, or what would you like to see us cover out of this?
I think today is specifically focused on Heatwave and Heatwave health, and so I think that the headline for me is that Heatwave is our number one risk as a result of climate change in the west of Melbourne, and that we really need to get serious about addressing that, and that's through a number of ways, and the ways that we can address it can actually make the west more livable and more prosperous. So it's a positive story about actually improving our environment.
I guess the background context to this is large fires, bush, unprecedented smoke haze in major cities and regions, and there is a widespread sense of a lack of leadership at a national level. I mean, do you have any specific calls to action you'd like to make, whether it's to different layers of government or organisations?
So Council's just released for public comment a draft climate emergency plan for Brimbank, and that's for the whole municipality. So there's a number of actions in there and advocacy asks of other levels of government. Probably the three things that are in the draft form, which we'll receive comment on, so it's yet to be approved. But the three big calls on the state government are, first off, for them to declare a climate emergency. Secondly, for them to commit to 100% renewable energy by 2030. They've already got a commitment to 50%. And the third one is to introduce a price on carbon. And our preferred method of that is called the Australian Carbon Dividend Plan, which basically puts a price on carbon, so $50 a tonne, and returns the revenue to everyone in the community. So each adult will get an equal share of that revenue, which means if you're in the lowest quintile, so the lowest 20% of households in terms of income, you would be sort of at least $1,000 better off, somewhere around $1,300 a year better off, because you would get that income from that. So they're the three things we think we really need. We need to get serious about 100% renewables, we need to get serious about a price on carbon, and we need to get serious about the climate emergency right through to the state level and above to the federal level. So that's the draft advocacy calls at the moment. So we're really looking forward to hearing the community perspective on those advocacy calls, and then there's a whole bunch of other actions that we need to do, and obviously everyone has a part to play. Council can't do it all on its own, and so it's really up to everyone to sort of think about how they can lead actions at their household level right through to their workplace, their clubs, associations, friendship networks, families, everything. So we've got a lot of work to do, but it's all for a good cause, and it's all to try to make our environment a better place to live.
I guess one of my reflections from today would be, around the world we've often seen that it is local councils or city councils that have provided the leadership that's so desperately needed on climate action, in the absence of that sort of national leadership. Why is that, do you think?
I think it was explained to me well around the climate emergency call. So the climate emergency is really the community coming to local government and saying, we would like you to basically become advocates for climate change. to those higher levels of government. And I think what was explained to me was that when you're talking about a single federal government, there's only one Australian government, and so it's easy for a whole lot of lobbyists and other people that have different interests to influence that one government. Whereas with local government, I think there's over 500 across Australia, so they're much closer to their community, and it's a lot harder for people that might have a vested interest, let's say, to influence 500 governments versus one government.
Brilliant. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Keep cool over summer.